Hello everybody, wishing you lots of good health and a beautiful smile this early winter morning. My topic is very counterintuitive. There is no such thing called hard work. I can already imagine the look of disbelief on your faces. You must be wondering if I've spelled the topic otherwise and I've made a mistake, and that it should be there is only one thing, and that is hard work. It's very natural for us to think that way. We've always been brought up and taught that if you want to achieve anything in life, it can only be through hard work. So how come I'm saying exactly the opposite, that there is no such thing called hard work? Let us understand this with a few examples. So many of you would have spoken to your girlfriend or boyfriend for long hours on the mobile phone. And at times when the battery conked off, you would have even stood by the wall with the charger plugged in and spoken for another few more hours. And at the end of those conversations, did you think that you have put in hard work? In fact, if any of you said that to your girlfriend or boyfriend, that, hey honey, I worked so hard in chatting with you last night, you're sure to get a whack, and then you will actually have to put in a lot of hard work to woo your beloved back. Or for example, you've overeaten your favorite pudding and your tummy has become all big and bloated. Would you think that you've done hard work in eating that delicious pudding? But you'll surely think that you'll have to put in a lot of hard work in working out in the gym next day to burn those extra calories. Or let's think that you're watching your favorite web series and you're so involved and so engaged that you end up watching all 10 episodes back to back. So after those 10 hours of non-stop watching, when you step out of your room, you're refreshed, you're charged up, and you're excited to share the review with your friends. Now contrast this to a situation wherein you're preparing for your exams. After just 2 hours of non-stop intensive studying, you come out of your room and you're all cramped up. You're in dire need of stretching out. You head to your mom's room and say, Mom, please give me something to eat. Mom, please press my head. I've been working so hard preparing for my exams. That's because we love doing certain things more than certain other things. So we like shopping. We love talking to our dear friends. We love watching our favorite web series. We love eating our favorite food. But we don't really love working in the office or working out in the gym, or for that matter, preparing for our exams. So when you start loving something, the hard part of that task instantly vanishes. Let's talk of a universal example. The toughest thing, the hardest thing in the entire universe is to give birth to a child and then to raise the newborn. For the first few months, the mother is completely sleep deprived. She has no time of her own, not even to have her food. She cannot do anything, literally, except to tend to the baby. So if you happen to meet a new mother and give her a compliment, hey new mommy, you've been working so hard in rearing the newborn, she'll be amused and she'll happily laugh off. That's because the joy and the feeling of raising a newborn is so overwhelming that it surpasses the highest forms of hard works. So dear friends, hard work, harder work, or no work at all are just conditions of the mind. And believe me, the human mind and the human body can be trained to do and to not to do literally anything. So when I was in college, I used to stay in the hostel. After college hours, I would come back to my room, finish my assignments of the day, and then sit down to preparing the UPSC syllabus. I would prepare till late at night, and I would often wake up early in the morning and resume my preparation. This routine of mine was not for a few days. It went on and on for a year, followed by another year. All along, I really enjoyed this journey. It was the most incredible phase of my life, the most enriching phase, wherein I learned the most. Not once did I feel that I have to put in hard work to attain my goal. But there's one thing that I clearly worked hard for, and that was the cooking of Maggi midnight during my preparation. So the hostel corridors had stoves kept at different places. And those stoves perhaps belonged to the Stone Age. They were more than 1,000 years old. These Paleolithic stoves defied all claims of Nestle of the Maggi being ready in 2 minutes. The stove used to say, no way, I will not let this Maggi get cooked before 45 minutes. So that's something that I clearly worked very hard for. Sometimes I feel that if we could have a time machine, sit and go back in time and meet our revered freedom fighters and say to them, dear sir, dear ma'am, it's all because of your hard work that we are living in an independent country today, they would perhaps disagree. They would say that no, it was our undying love for an independent nation and our dream that the future generations breathe in a free country that made us do what we did. When I was posted in Mathura, my team and I decided to undertake a massive plantation drive. We set a target of sowing 25 lakh saplings in 7 days' time. This target was unthinkable, let alone being achievable. But we were on as if a Tom Cruise mission to achieve the impossible. We planned the minutest details, from having a huge stock of saplings, making provisions for their replenishment, watering, manuring, and so on. I remember many Gram Pradhans approached me and they said, Madam, please come and plant the first sapling. But I would quirkily say that no, I'll come and sow the last one. So by going and sowing the last little sapling, I could make sure that all the saplings have been sown and proper arrangements have been made for their watering, manuring, and replenishment. It was a matter of huge pride that not only did we achieve our target of planting 25 lakh saplings in record 7 days' time, but we achieved the highest survival rate of 80% against an ordinary rate of just 45%. There were many newspapers that were covering our mission during that time. So one journalist came up to me and said, Madam, you and your team have been working for the last 7 days on an average 18 hours a day, unfailingly and consistently. I was really amused. I said, oh, is it? Because our focus was not on the number of hours we were putting in, but on the number of saplings that we were non-stop sowing. Hard work is often seen as a barometer of the efforts put in by an individual in performing a task. But if somehow we can assess the satisfaction or the joy that the individual derives in performing that task, it would be the true assessment of his or her excellence. And the beauty of this is that this appraisal, this assessment can be done from both sides, by the individual as well as by the employer that he or she is working for. There's this story of a young boy that really impresses me every time I think of it. So this boy walks into a shop to make a phone call. He dials a lady's number and says, I want a job to mow your lawn. The lady says, I already have someone to mow my lawn. The boy says, I will do it at half the price. The lady thinks. Then she says, no, I'm very satisfied with the boy who mows my lawn. The boy still tries and gives another shot. He says, ma'am, I will mow your lawn and I will also clean your sidewalks and your curb. Please let me do this for you. The lady says, no, thank you. She hangs up the phone. Now this boy has a quirky smile on his face. And all this while, the shop owner has been intently listening to the entire conversation. The shop owner goes up to him and says, hey lad, don't get disheartened. I'll give you a job in my shop. You can work for me. But the boy says, no sir, thank you. The shop owner is surprised. He says, but you were just looking for a job. You were pleading for one. The boy says, no sir, I was just checking my performance. I'm the one who works for that lady. And I do this every month. I offer her a substitute in the form of double the work and half the salary. Now I thought that is true appraisal. I remember during my Noida days, I was always on the run, chasing and busting the sand mafia network. The sand mafioso, as they are usually called, used to move in high-end SUVs, protected by armed men. They were absolutely invincible. Their movement was in a huge convoy of vehicles. It was almost like an army cavalcade. Coming close to them was next to impossible. Yet, with our persistent efforts, we started conducting continuous raids and started making holes into their illegal empire. And soon, we started getting threats that either we stop or we would be killed. But we weren't the kind of material who would budge so easily. So on one of our midnight escapades, we were chasing the sand-laden trucks, and suddenly we realized that we are surrounded by armed goons from all sides. There was no scope of escape, no scope of survival. They had come totally prepared to eliminate us and to set an example so that nobody could muster the courage to stand against them. But as the Paulo Coelho saying goes, when you truly aspire for something, the entire universe conspires in helping you achieve it. So in similar style, a universe of villagers came from behind and pelted lathis and stones. Our attackers were totally caught unawares, and their plan to kill us was perfectly shattered. This episode did not deter us one bit. In fact, in days that came, we moved ahead with greater vigor and force. And in record 2 weeks' time, we arrested over 100 people, registered a similar number of FIRs, seized over 100 JCBs and trucks, and recovered royalty worth 80 crore rupees. After all these years, I look back and ask myself, when at night we left to conduct our raids, we weren't sure whether we would ever come back. Our families weren't sure if they would ever see us alive. Yet we continued to move on in our mission, and our families continued to support us steadfast. Ultimately, we achieved success in tracking down and finishing one of the largest illegal industries. In spite of all this, I don't think we had put in any hard work. That's because our focus was not on the number of hours we were putting in, but on the number of vehicles that we were seizing, the riverbeds that we were saving, and the lives of poor farmers, poor villagers whose farming lands we were protecting. So if you love what you are doing, everything magically falls in place, and the hardest and toughest of tasks become cakewalk for you. Thank you.